What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy, and welcome to the round 14 review. I'm getting it right this time. Yes! We are back once again to talk everything team coach in regards to how the weekend has gone. Only the 6 games to go through. However, lots happened this weekend. I was told over and over again what has happened this weekend, and trust me, I'm very aware of it. And I have surprisingly recovered quickly. From what things look like, it's been a really good weekend in terms of team coach results. So I'm happy with that for sure, but I'm hopeful that you guys have done well yourselves as well. So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. But before we do so, again, if you guys are new here, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Everything is always very much appreciated. Appreciate you all for continuing to tune into these videos, and let's get into the round 14 review. So here we are, Team Coach website. Once again, we have got the update, and I am keen as a bean to have a look through these because you're looking at the bottom, I'm pretty certain you know what the deal is this week. You know how we've gone. We've won a prize card. Happy days for sure. Lots of people always love to mention it to me on the Sunday nights that I do my streams. They love to come in and say, hey, did you know you won? I'm like, yes, I do. I am usually streaming when the scores come out. So happy days indeed. I'm very happy that we have once again won a prize card. I'm glad that it's becoming a bit more of a weekly thing, ticking it away, and I'm happy for sure. But let's have a look first at our tips, because surprisingly, for the first time, I think, all year, we went perfect. We had a perfect week for tips. 6 for 6 at the, I guess, disappointment of one of the games. So I think you know which one I'm talking about, but at the kind of expense of that, we have gone 6 for 6. I don't think I get anything. I think it's like the first 10 people to get it correct get themselves a pack and a pocket album, so I don't expect myself to get anything from getting 6 out of 6 this week. But nonetheless, it's just nice to at least get a perfect week for once. I don't think it's ever happened before, so good on them, I guess, for playing the way I expected them to. The closest you can see, round 7, 8 out of 9, and Collingwood did me dirty there, so you can tell it's been a bit of a rough year. Oh, an 8 out of 9 here as well. Richmond losing by 7 to St Kilda. Yeah, that's the best we've done so far. But 6 out of 6 is our first 100% happy days. Obviously, less games means less of a chance of it going wrong. 3 less chances of messing it up. But yeah, happy days indeed. 6 of 6 works well. Honestly, I would have been alright if I was 5 of 6, if I'm being completely honest. But that's in the past now. It doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about that. We're going to move over to Star Powers. Star Powers is the next one, and a few things to think about here. First off, some great picks at the start. We've got ourselves mighty midfield and defensive dynamo that all smashed it. Errol's 127, had ourselves Adams 111, and we had ourselves Lockie's 120. That is an amazing start. That is everyone over 110, which is crazy. That is exactly what you want altogether. Puts us about 50 points over 300 when you combine these two together. It's just when we jump into the next two. I'm glad Jason had a bad game because it just gives me an excuse not to use him anymore. George, thankfully, was the best one. Like, it is so good to see him playing the way he's playing. 30 disposals, 6 marks, 3 tackles. That was an amazing game from him. Obviously, I wish the result went a different way. I feel like I'm going to be bringing this up all bloody video, but I wish the result went the other way. But it's just nice to know that the young guns are showing out, and it's happy to see. Jason, though, just Port's performance all around was surprisingly bad, like bad all around. So hopefully we can find someone different next week, and from everything we've got, I'd imagine it won't be too difficult to get something different. But Trailblazer is really where it went wrong, and I kind of like admitted to myself, hey, this is probably where it's going to go wrong. Like Dane Zorko 125, I had a look at the game he played, and I'm starting to realize that he is playing that backman role who gets the ball more than anyone else. He is that like reliable go-to player in the backline, much like Nick Martin, who like occasionally, Nick will go into the midfield, much like Dane will sometimes, and he will just kind of play a role in there. But when he's in that back line, he's just the one they look for to get the quick kick out and find a player to slow things down or to push the pace and get it moving forward. He is one of those players. And so Dane, I'm definitely going to keep my eye out on him. But the thing is, it's the same thing as Max Gawn. He's in the same area as Max Gawn. So it's hard to pick Dane, even though Dane has been amazing this season. When someone like Maxi Gawn is in there, he is the best player, I think, so far this year. At least in terms of team coach points. But nonetheless, this altogether gave us a 172 ranking, and we didn't see any changes, I think, here. But 464 points, it definitely could have been so much better. Like I said, we were over 350 points with those first 3 players. So the fact we have only just crept over 100 points for the last 2 has pretty much ruined us. If we had picked Zorko here And if we picked Jackson there, we'd see a bit of improvement here and a lot of improvement here. So definitely ways we could have done better this week. Absolutely. Most likely would have seen us get a prize card, but you can't really complain too much. I kind of committed myself to that change and I'm not really going to worry about it too much. I'm honestly not too stressed. Star powers area, ever since I had that 1 week where I messed up, I'm really not worried about it too much. Obviously, I still want to get the prize cards, but if you've noticed, we haven't gotten a Star Powers prize win in a good while, which is honestly surprising. It is surprising, but we moved to Ultra, and some goods and bads, like I said though, Errol Goulden here giving us the double points, and Lockie Whitfield here giving us the double points means 120 plus for both of them. Crazy. That's really good. That's what, 240 each? That's nearly 500 just from these two. Then Chad came in. 73 is one of his worst performances. It was one of those ones where like he would get involved, but he'd try and do too much. He would give away free kicks, which takes away points. And he couldn't get himself on the scoreboard either. Obviously, Armadi was an amazing player this week. He had the 9 goals, which was something I don't think anyone really expected. But Warner was the one who had to drop a few points for that to happen. And yeah, I'm not too stressed either way. Again, like I said, my feelings towards star powers have kind of dwindled as things have gone along. But we've talked about these two. We know these were the problems. These were the problems here. And that gave us a rank 61. And it makes me think, man, like some of the cards we've got are so helpful. They do so many good things for us. But then it's like, man, I wish I could have just had this one extra player here or there that like made things a little easier and got us over the line, because at the moment I am terrified putting anyone else in this position other than double points Whitfield, because no one else seems to get points, and it's scary for sure because like I want to use Nick Martin here. I've got a double points Trelaw that I haven't actually locked in yet that I'm thinking about doing next week, and then like Maxi Gorn, I want to try and get his double points. There's just so much I can do, but it's the fact that like I occasionally just one person will make a mistake and it ruins me for the rest of the week, and like I don't have every card, so it's not always going to be easy to make those changes, but like something's got to happen here. I feel like next week has to be the knuckle down week. We have to get ourselves a prize card in this game mode or it's going to be a problem. But you can see rank 61, that is not a bad ranking at all. 746, like it could have been so much more had we had someone else here, and I think it's just bye week. I think it's just the bye week that kind of made things difficult here. Didn't really know who to pick. I've never really been able to trust Zorko as much as I'd like to, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just happy things are, you know, still positively trending and we're still winning prize cards. But then we're going to move to top team and top 4 again. This is the one we are really worried about, and good and bad here and there. Errol Goulden, great pick. 127 wasn't the best. Bond ended up pulling out the best week, which is like the best score for the week. So that's good for him. I did have him in my top 18, so I'm really not worried. And Goulden's 127 is only 15 off, so I'm not going to stress about it too much. Just a lot of good midfield performances this week, and I'm so happy that I managed to pick one of them. That's all I really want. So happy days indeed. Tristan Sherry, not a bad game from him. 107 was 3rd best, so I am not mad at that at all. Honestly, in hindsight, I should have picked Grundy because Grundy was up against Adelaide without Riley O'Brien, so they had a bit of a committee ruck going in the Adelaide camp, so it's unfortunate, but Brodie Grundy did absolutely show out, had his way. 31 disposals is crazy for him. I'm so glad he's playing well again. But Sherry, 107, that is not a bad performance at all. My hope is that some picked Marshall, maybe some picked Nank, I know a few did. English, maybe a few picked him, I don't know, but I don't know how many people expected this out of him. I know he kicked a few goals, lots of marks is helpful for him. 11 kicks, honestly, this kick to handball ratio is like something you really want to see. This is what you want to see from your players, is something like that. This, on the other hand, isn't. Could you imagine how big of a lead Grundy would have if he didn't have the 23 handballs to 8 kicks? Like, it would be crazy how far in front he'd be. But Sherry, on the other hand, it's not as bad, but I wish he had a few more kicks. 2 goals, though, definitely put him over the mark. Very happy indeed, but it should have been more, if I'm being completely honest. And then our biggest disappointment of the week was Luke Ryan, 70 points. Crazy bad from what we've expected from him. Whitfield, who we've gone to use a lot in the star powers, he ended up having 120. I think Dan Houston is starting to get more and more involved as the weeks go. And then Sicily throwing back the clock. We haven't seen this type of performance from him in a good while. So lots of like unexpected people in here, like Bailey Scott. I don't know how many people expected that. Boston had himself a good game. It feels like it's been so long since he's done that. Dale is probably the most likely out of all of these guys. Maybe Whitfield. Whitfield. But Dale and Whitfield, I feel like, are the ones many people would have picked if it wasn't for the obvious Dacos's and probably Sinclair's, Young's. Honestly, like, it was just a very strange week for backmen. Very, very strange week. Darcy Moore with 37 is crazy. Yeah, lots of ones that could have absolutely shocked you and you wouldn't have seen it coming, but yeah, it's just unfortunate we couldn't cop the best with Luke Ryan. And then Isaac Heaney. Again, not the best, but honestly, 125, can you be mad at it? Can you? I'm certainly not. 125 is amazing. Heaney and Goulden both pretty much carried us this week to a good top 4 score. So 429, that is not anything bad at all. It's not prize card worthy, but it keeps our rank 1. It's where we want to be. I'm happy with it. I'm not going to worry about it. Not going to panic. As long as I'm seeing that rank 1, I am going to stay happy, and it just means we keep on going. Yeah, it's just that continuous feeling of, okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, and hopefully by the end of the season, that still says rank 1. That's all we want. We've held this spot for so long. I do not feel like giving it up anytime soon. But then we move to top 18. This is where it all happened. This is the big one. So I mentioned forwards was going to be a very interesting week, and it was. I think goods and bads out of it. First thing, we have the top 2 players. Great stuff. Danaher and Heaney. I feel like a lot of people would have expected that, so I don't imagine too many people didn't have these two. But especially Heaney. If you don't have Heaney in your forward line, you're pretty much like lagging behind everyone else. I feel like Heaney has just been on a different level this year. I'm glad Luke ended up having a pretty good game too. 91 is something I didn't expect, if I'm being completely honest, but glad I picked it out. Hogan ended up being the right GWS pick. I had Green. So Green pretty much had his average, but Hogan went way over. That's the only regret I have for the forward line, really. The likes of Hipwood having another good game is good for him. The Brisbane forward seeming to finally find their form again. Zerha, like, that is a very unexpected performance from him, but I don't think many people had him, so I'm not going to complain about it. Rankin is one we're going to have to look out for again. He actually did quite well despite the result. Rankin looked like he was involved in a lot more play than we realized. And then I'm just looking through here. A lot of people had Ginnivan, so I'm glad I didn't end up picking him up. He would have been my worst. But Shea, again, that like 60s. He's in that 60 to 50 range, and it's getting frustrating because it feels like that Richmond team is just getting worse and worse. Tommy Papley started off well. He went above average, which is good. I can't complain, but yeah, nothing special. This forward line in general was meh, I feel like is the best way to describe it, but I didn't expect too much to come from it. It was the midfield that I was super keen for. Have a look at this midfield. I was so happy when I saw this. We finally have picked well in the midfield. We've got Bont, number 1. Taranto 4th. Shout out Cooper, man. That was a great pick. 4th place, tied 3rd technically with Goulden as well. 127 all round. Happy days. Trelaw 111. I didn't know whether to trust the doggies, but hey, they've come out and absolutely proved me wrong. That is an amazing result for having 2 doggies players in the midfield at once. So happy with that. And the most disappointing one was Dawson with 84. And I don't know whether I expected it, but I think I'm going to keep Dawson again this week. It's just like he's so on and off. Like last week he was on, the week before he was off, this week he's off, maybe next week he's on. I don't know. I'm going to keep him in, see how it goes, but it's just, where does Dawson lie, man? He either dominates or plays bang average, and I'm glad I didn't have the likes of Sarong or Brayshaw in, because those guys, yeah, they had an absolute stinker. I don't know, a very strange week. Rory Laird back to usual form. Like, that is very, very good for what we've been seeing. You can see last year 109 was his average, averaging 100 right now. But McCluggage 132, that's awesome from him. So happy to see Wardlaw in there. LDU in there. Man, that's good signs, hopefully, for the future. Libba with 105, Crisp with 108. Just a lot to look at here, man. I do not know where this season is going to go. Like I said, midfield is such a toss-up, and I'm just glad we managed to pick right this week. But we're going to look at the back line as well. Bit of good, bit of bad. Like, Whitfield's 120 was a great pick. Sheasel 99, Dacos 98. Glad that Dacos did kind of pull it back towards the end, because he had himself a bit of a poor first half. But yeah, just stormed back in the second with a bit of a switch up. Sinclair with 94, Baker with 72. The drop off between Sinclair and Baker is crazy, but Will Day is one that I actually do want to pick up next week. I just don't know who for, and that's if he's even playing. I'm not sure who the buys are next week, but yeah, Luke Ryan was actually our worst backman, so not good for the top 4 picks. I don't know, it's going to be a very, very interesting week next week, but all we care about right now is this week, and this week we got ourselves a prize card. We're actually tied for 14th, I believe it's it is on this, between 14 and 16, all have 1,815. So if you're copying me, then I guess you can thank me later. Catman Sports, I know that boy very well. It's good to see him getting just under us and also earning himself a prize card. Good to see. And no one else that I can really tell whether they are in our like little group, I guess, in a little niche, but nonetheless happy with the results. Very, very happy. And yeah, it wins us a prize card this week. So let's go have a look. I actually mentioned last week who I wanted. I'm glad that I get another chance pretty quickly to go and pick up another one, and it's going to be Sam Doherty. I feel like Carlton is just at that popularity point that Doherty will be picked up quite quickly. I've seen a few people out there with Doherty as well, so I'm going to take the chance, quickly grab him, and hopefully not make a bad decision and miss out on someone else. And there we have it. There is Sam Doherty with the tick underneath, the one. Happy days. Like, this is starting to clear out very nicely. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top team prize cards now in here with the 4 star powers. We had 4 star power prize cards before we had like 4 here, and now we've taken over with the top team prize cards. It's gone back and forth this year. We had the massive star powers luck, and now we've got the massive top team luck. So we've just got to figure out how to get both very consistently. We did it one week where we got 3 out of 4. We had 3 top teams and 4. Oh, sorry, not 3 top teams. I think it was like 2 top teams and 1 star powers, or vice versa. I'm not sure, but we had 3 prize cards in 1 week before, so I'm hopeful we can do something similar like that again. That is all we've got for today's video. Once again, thank you again for tuning in. Let me know how you guys went in the comments and whether you see yourself getting some prize cards next week, what your decisions are going to be. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in once again. I'm glad that we are still continuing this journey, getting that luck, having some fun. Remember, weekend games start Friday again this week, so you've got an extra day to work out what you want. Maybe grab a few extra cards to chuck into your collection to make your teams a little better, whatever it may be. Be sure to let me know what you're thinking in the comments below, and I appreciate you all for tuning in. Again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Everything is always very much appreciated, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.